Hello and welcome to this special edition of The Last Tackle. We're here in Blackpool. We're at the iconic Winter Gardens for the Betfred World Matchplay darts, and I'm delighted to be joined by Kyle Amell. Kyle, you just had a walk around this brilliant arena. It's amazing, isn't it?
Mate, buzzing. I'm absolutely. I can't wait for tonight. It's been so exciting just coming around and seeing it from a different perspective rather than on the TV. So, delighted to be here, Mark, and looking forward to a brilliant evening.
You can hear the Winter Gardens staff setting up. They work so hard. We're going to have 3,000 fans in here tonight, and it is going to be a cracking night here at the Betfred World Matchplay. It's just such an iconic place. The atmosphere is fantastic. You've played in grand finals. You've played in Challenge Cup finals at Wembley, but you can feel the history in this place as well, can't you?
You can. It's an amazing building, and just how sort of close and packed in it is. But it's a brilliant feeling for those players that walk out onto this stage later this evening. But again, just really excited to be here, Mark, and can't thank Betfred enough for it.
How much do you love the darts then?
Oh, honestly, mate, I've always watched it religiously over Christmas. I can put my hand on my heart and say that, I haven't really followed it as much through the year. Christmas time and absolute, it's always on in our house. But having said that, I think with the impact that Luke Littler had last year, I know he certainly gripped the imagination of my 12-year-old lad. The dartboard went up, we were playing darts all over Christmas. I found myself watching it more and more now. So looking forward to it, mate.
Luke Littler went out to Michael Van Gerwen. Michael Van Gerwen plays tonight. Luke Littler is a huge Warrington fan as well, and we've got some Warrington players coming tonight because they thought we were going to see Luke Littler, but I'm afraid Luke Littler's gone home.
No, he has, and obviously came into this competition unseeded, so he faced up against Michael Van Gerwen, two quality players, and unfortunately they both can't go through. So unfortunately for Luke Littler and the Warrington Wolves fans, he made way. But look, I'm sure the rest of the Wolves boys that I'm sure they're like me and enjoy the darts and enjoy any live sport, really, Mark.
Come on then, what do you think the massive difference is? You played obviously a team sport all your life.
Yeah.
These boys are on this hockey. There's no one else of themselves. What's the big difference, you think, between team sports and these dart players?
Well, I think for these dart players, first of all, Mark, there's no hiding place. It's all on them. You think when you do team sport, there's so many different variables that can affect the outcome of your game. An individual performance, or one of your teammates. If I missed a tackle, which I would have done plenty of times in my time, usually I'd have a mate alongside me, a James Roby or somebody mopping that mistake up. But tonight out here on the hockey with all them fans behind them, in front of the Sky Sports cameras as well, it's all on them. It's all on them. So they have to own the mistakes and very quickly learn and react from it. And with that comes a huge pressure and, nothing but huge respect for them.
And I suppose before a big grand final, if you're a little bit nervous, you can have a look around the dressing room and see Robes and see Johnny Lomax and whatever.
Yeah.
It's a bit different for them, isn't it?
It is, but I do believe, Mark, whether team sport or individual, it comes down to preparation. The work that you've done all year to get to you to this moment. You have to trust your gut, trust that you're meant to be in that place exactly in that moment, and just go out there and deliver. And I think the preparation is the key. If you've nailed that, it's in the hands of the gods, as they say.
And there's plenty of rugby league players that love the darts, and obviously there's plenty of darts players that love rugby league. We've mentioned Luke Littler, Stephen Bunting, like St Helens as well, and Michael Smith,
of course.
You've met Michael Smith quite a few times.
Yeah, I mean, Bully Boy's often on the terraces at St Helens, so during my time there, him, Dave Chisnell as well, another St Helens fan and a member of the town, Bunting you mentioned, and Luke Littler. I just think, there's a lot of similarities between the two sports in terms of fan base and in terms of just the sheer respect for both sports as well. Very different, don't get me wrong, but again, just a lot of mutual connections there, I suppose.
Because when Michael Smith won the World Championship, of course, he had his picture with the trophies that you won at St Helens as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. You did, and obviously the town of St Helens is a very proud town, and Michael Smith was on the billboards as home of the World Champions, and obviously St Helens as well. They had to go and do their thing out over in Penrith, again, just a town that's dead proud of her sporting achievements, and Bully Boy certainly sat up there. And I'm sure the same will happen for Luke Littler eventually when he gets his hands on that prestigious trophy.
I thought you were going to say eventually when Warrington win.
Oh, no, there's more like Luke Littler to get his hands on the trophy first.
Whoa.
That was a joke.
There we are, controversially. Is it Warrington's? Yeah, well, certainly Sam Burgess is making a massive difference. Right, so Michael Smith plays tonight. He's last on against Chris Dobie. He lost on his stage in 2019, so he's never won the Betfred World Matchplay. But of course, he is a former world champion. I think he might be coming back into form. But after his first round win, I asked Michael why he loves Rugby League so much. Michael, why do you love Rugby League?
From St Helens. It's the only thing to love. We've either got Pilkington Glass or we've got St Helens Rugby League, and it's that pastime for me now. I've been in darts for so long. I think this is my 16th season. My getaway, my relaxation, my everything is going watching Saints. And if you said to anyone in St Helens, I think we've got like a population of like 180 something thousand. They don't know what that is. Everything is rugby. It's rugby orientated, and I even teach that my kids. Stay away from darts, straight into rugby, and that's where we were brought up.
Not last year, obviously, with Wigan, but St Helens have had such success recently, haven't they?
Yeah, of course, 4 grand finals in a row, everything else that comes with it. We just see now, like, it's not an aging team, but we're losing a few players, we're losing that, and the salary cap kills us a bit. I know we give players massive contracts and stuff like that, but Saints will find it right. We went disappearing in the 90s and early 2000s, especially when Leeds took over as well. And we'll get it back, and you know yourself, Saints are the team, and we will be the team again.
Wigan might be top at the moment, but it's so tight at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, I think at the minute, Wigan, they got lucky against us on the last weekend, but really lucky. I think we were the better team, and Wigan fans all said the same. They had 4 players missing, or 3 players. 2 of the key players were Field and French. We had a lot of kids out there as well for Saints. I think we should have won that game, but rugby's rugby, darts is darts. It's the same thing, football's football. No one's guaranteed a winner. But the Saints will come back, they'll come back fighting, and I'm pretty sure as long as we make the top 6, I'd rather top 2 so we don't have to play early on. Well, I'm sure we'll be good.
Yeah, good luck to Michael Smith tonight. Right, let's talk St Helens. Obviously, defeat to Wigan last week. I mean, obviously they're not out of it. You know, it's bar Wigan. It's very, very tight, isn't it? But just, I don't know. Is there something missing at St Helens at the moment?
Look, I think before that game you would have said yes, and if they'd have performed the way they had done in the last couple of weeks, you'd have certainly said yes. But you know, they came into that game, I think I said it during commentary, they came into the game in the land of hope. You know, they were hoping rather than expecting to win there. And it's always a difficult game, no matter where the two teams sit within the competition. You know, there's no cliche, Matt, but form genuinely does go out the window. But I think the reaction, the response was what was really pleasing about St Helens. I think Paul Wellens mentioned it after and during this week, that is something that they can, you know, set their standard at. Although I must admit, we're halfway through the season, I never really like it when they say, now that's the standard set. That standard should have been set way, way earlier. Look, they've got an awful lot of injuries out there, so maybe that's what he's alluding to. But Wigan had some key players missing too, and I think it was, it was nice to see as a fan of the game now that they're both fullbacks in there. Zach Eckelsley, of course, he's had 4 or 5 games to bed into it, but young Harry Robertson, I thought, was brilliant as well. So it was important that those two kids got off to good starts and had good games, not only for that one, but for the future of our sport as well.
Is it a bit harder for St Helens as well, because how well Wigan are playing and what Wigan are doing as well?
Well, hang on a minute, Matt.
It's the biggest rivalry, isn't it?
Don't get me wrong. Look what Wigan have had to watch for 4 years earlier. Do you know what I mean? Like, so that has maybe.
But we forget quickly in sport.
Oh well, of course we do. You know, and that's what's that's what happens. It moves on very, very quick. And right now, it feels like we're in Wigan's time. They hold all 4 trophies over 2 seasons. Of course, I'm sure that the carrot and the challenge for them is to really make sure that they assert themselves as one of, if not the best teams in Super League, by doing something that I don't think any other side has done, and had all 4 of them trophies over 1 calendar year. And bearing in mind what they've done as well last year, it would really, sort of maybe put that argument to bed. But they've got one hand on the League Leaders' Shield, I do believe now, and a grand final. But the way the playoffs is, Mark, it's
look, you don't win a grand final.
No,
in
you
July,
don't. You don't. But right now they're looking good, Wigan, aren't you? There's not, I don't think there's too many fans out there that would disagree with that. You look at the amount of talent they've got in the squad. Even when they lose key players, other guys just seem to slot in, and it's all to do for, I think, everybody else below Wigan. But there is still a chance, Mark, and that's what we love to see about the game.
Yeah. Wigan obviously got a little gap. We've got a game in hand as well. Do you think it's then down to 7th and Leeds for the other spots? I mean, is that too big a gap now for Lee, or could they still get themselves back into it?
Yeah,
I mean, they've had injuries, haven't they? And
they have, and they had injuries right at the start of the year, and at the start of the year, it's just about getting wins on the board, and if you don't, then obviously injuries are part and parcel, aren't they? But I think they've probably left it a little bit too late. I think there's only really one of that sort of crop that can fit into the 6, but it makes it exciting. How many times have we done this show and we've looked at the top, we've looked at the bottom, and we've looked at the middle, and it's all still to play for? The number of times I've been on this show and we've looked at fixtures and we've thought, this is a humdinger, how can you pick between the two? But we're just getting that first foot now into what we call the business end of the year now, and it's certainly set up for an exciting and enthralling finish, Mark.
Well, there's plenty of connections between rugby league and darts as well. And there is in the commentary box. Rod Studd has commentated on the darts for absolute years, and Rod is now back covering rugby league for Sky Sports, and I caught up with him a little earlier. Rod, great to see you back on Sky Sports Rugby League coverage.
Thanks, Mark. I've enjoyed it. It's been good. It's been a long time in between drinks, but I've enjoyed getting back into the swing of it. I've had some great fun. I've done quite a few games at Salford, which I've enjoyed. I've enjoyed watching Salford a lot. I even had the pleasure and privilege of doing a match alongside Kyle Amor at Huddersfield, and that was fun too. So, it's been good. I've enjoyed it.
I can remember, obviously, you've been on Sky Sports Rugby League for years or whatever. One of the sort of defining moments for me, and it's been played a lot recently, is you interviewing Rob Burrow in 2011 after that amazing try.
I remember it well, Mark,
and winning the Harry Sunderland Trophy. And I remember you saying to him that it was unanimous vote for him to get the
That's right, it was
Harry
amazing. He got every single vote from the mass ranks of the press benches for the man of the match, Harry Sunderland Trophy in that final. I had the privilege of being stood on the sideline when he scored the try. And the speed at which it all happened at ground level was absolutely incredible. I mean, he just ducked under some tackles and suddenly he started running towards Paul Wellens. And I thought, well, Wellens will stop him here. Remember, Paul Wellens is one of the great one-on-one tackling fullbacks in the history of Super League. But it was a now you see me, now you don't moment, and even Paul Wellens couldn't stop it. In fact, he made Paul Wellens look a bit silly, and no one made Paul Wellens look silly. Great fullback. But Rob just sat him down and went past him. It was a sensational try, absolutely brilliant. And I remember it vividly. And as you say, man of the match by unanimous margin. Great night.
Probably one of the best ever tries in Super League.
Well, yes, definitely. Best try in a grand final. People talk about Jason Robinson's in the first ever grand final, but the Rob Burrow one for mine was the best try ever scored in a grand final.
And it's the timing of that try as well. All right, Leeds came out 32-16 winners, but when Rob Burrow went over then, it was quite tight.
It was very tight. The first half was like nip and tuck, and no one could get a grip on the game until that moment. And that try, even though it was in the first half, was arguably the match-winning moment in itself, even though it came early in the game.
And obviously, what Rob Burrow did post-career as well, what he's done for the MND was just phenomenal, wasn't it?
Absolutely incredible, and you see that reflected in the tributes and the emotional outpourings in all clubs and all games, Challenge Cup final and Super League games since, at Headingley and elsewhere. And that is the measure of the man. That's the esteem and respect in which he's held. And I think that reflected after he passed away, definitely.
He played in a hell of a team as well, didn't he? So when you were doing your first stint on Sky Sports, obviously Leeds were the dominant force, weren't they?
That was a great side. They call it the Golden Generation. My word, it was, wasn't it? It was a brilliant side, led so brilliantly by Sir Kevin Sinfield. And you talk about, Rob and his battle against MND and all he did for awareness and fundraising. Sir Kevin at the forefront as well. And, what an incredible guy. Incredible player and incredible man.
And what about the current state of the Super League? Obviously, Wigan are out in front, and then it's probably the race to catch Wigan now, isn't it?
It is, yeah. You don't need me to tell you Wigan are the best side. We've seen that all season in the Betfred Super League and the Betfred Challenge Cup, when they dominated Warrington at Wembley and won that with something to spare. But I wouldn't write the others off just yet, because the bottom line is there's a playoff series, and Wigan, even though they'll surely finish top and win the League Leaders' Shield, they're still going to have to win 2 knockout ties including the grand final, to be crowned champions. And I wouldn't dismiss any of the teams just below them, Warrington and Saints, Hull Kingston Rovers. And as I mentioned earlier, I've seen Salford quite a few times this season, and aside from enjoying watching them play, Paul Rowley's side, I also respect their ability as a top side. And if they can get a home playoff tie in the first round of the playoffs, I wouldn't rule them out, and they might be a nice bet at a big price with Betfred, perhaps.
I know you love your history of sport as well. I mean, obviously, in the 90s, Wigan were the dominant force, weren't they? I just get the feeling that Matt Peat is bringing that sort of all Wigan back, isn't he? The stuff he's doing in the community and stuff like that.
He's done brilliantly, and the funny thing is I saw someone posting, a Wigan fan posting on Twitter today about a game they'd lost in his first season in charge away at Wakefield, and he said, I'm posting this merely so you can look at the replies of the people calling for Matt Peat to be sacked. I mean, and we look at it now and you think, as you just said there, he could go down as one of the great Wigan coaches alongside some of the other greats in their history, like John Money and all sorts, And in that early stages of his Wigan coaching career, they were saying, get him out of here. He doesn't know, he's out of his depth, was one of the comments. And you think, blimey, this hasn't aged very well. I think he's hugely impressive, both what he does with the team and the way he conducts himself in interviews. He never blames anything bar the team and himself if they get beat. He is very classy. Yeah. He's doing extremely well, and, you have to make him favourites.
Chris Rudlinski told me that when he appointed him, he got emails of complaint.
Well,
they look really silly now, don't
they? Yeah. Chris is a good judge. I know Chris from his playing days, obviously, and, I've commentated on Chris, that's how old I am. I'm not saying that's how old Chris is. He's much younger than me, by the way. But, he's a good judge of a coach and a player, and they've made a very good appointment there, and that's shown.
Team sports versus individual sports, then. You're commentating here at the iconic Winter Gardens. What's the big difference on team sports and individual sports, do you think?
I mean, I'm sure, Kyle will help you out with this more than I can, but for me, it's like if you're in a team and you're having a bit of an off day in a rugby league team, you've got 12 other blokes there who can help you out of trouble. If you're not feeling 100%, not feeling your best, there's 12 other blokes that you've gone into battle with, and they can all help you, and vice versa. On the Winter Garden stage here at the Betfred World Matchplay, you go up there and you have an off night. There's only one person who can sort it out, and that's you. You've got no one to help you, no one to bail you out, no one to get you out of trouble. You've got to sort it out yourself, and quickly. So that's the key difference, I think, between an individual sport and a team sport.
And you've worked on grand finals, you've worked on Challenge Cup finals, and obviously you're going to be working on the Betfred World Matchplay final. How does the darts compared to the other sports?
It's a great thrill to be at any big sporting event. Don't get me wrong, both as a spectator and someone who's working. I mean, I knew pretty early on in my life that I wasn't going to have the talent or the dedication to be a professional sportsman. So the next best thing to do was to be paid to talk about it and spout endlessly, where you can be wrong all the time, of course. That's the great thing about punditry. You see them at the Euros or any other sporting event, and they're spouted off. They've no skin in the game. They can be wrong every day of the week and twice on a Sunday. And yet there's no comeback, really. If you're wrong as a coach, sooner or later you're going to get sacked. And if you're wrong as a player, you get dropped, or you get sold onto another club or binned out of the top flight. So you can't be wrong as a player. You're under pressure all the time. So it's a great thrill to watch these guys and talk to these guys and be friends with some of them and work alongside some of them. So it's brilliant. I've really enjoyed it. I enjoy the darts and I enjoy the rugby league. It's been great fun.
And do you think there's a lot of similarities in the fans of rugby league and darts?
Yeah, I think there probably is, and I'm sure that was something that Fred spotted with the sponsorship of both events, and he's. I know Fred enjoys both events greatly and sees the link and similarity between Betfred customers and clients, fans of both sports, rugby league and darts, and they're very much games for the people, aren't they? And they always have been, and I think they always will be.
And what's it like commentating when Winter Gardens is in full voice?
Superb. It's a great house. I've been in the Winter Gardens as we are now when it's empty. You've only got to walk into the place and just have a look at the ceiling and the architecture and the great stage there and think, this is a proper sporting venue. And as it fills up and the sound grows and the people are singing and the players start their walk-ons, what a wonderful feeling it is. What an atmosphere.
Do you feel the history, Ed? So like when you walk in, you feel like, Colin Lord's big fish to win the tournament, Taylor dominating, Taylor's 9 die. Do you feel it even when you walk in?
Absolutely, without a doubt. You've only got to sit on the floor level or up on the balcony where you get that panoramic view and you can see the ceiling and you look out onto that stage, and as you just alluded to there, Mike, you can think that's where Phil Taylor marched on and won those 16 Betfred World Matchplays. That's where Colin Lloyd hit the 170 to beat John Part in that great final, and remembering all the great finals going back to Larry Butler's winning the first Betfred World Matchplay. So it's a wonderful place with great, wonderful memories for players, spectators and broadcasters alike.
Got 2 questions for you to finish with. Who wins the Betfred World Matchplay and who wins the Betfred Grand Final at Old Trafford in October?
You don't want much, do you, Mark? Let's get right. World Matchplay. I'm going to say Luke Humphries for that. I mean, if I said Luke Humphries and Wigan, you'd say, what have we got this bloke in for? Any fool could tell you that. Right, well, this fool reckons Luke Humphries is most likely to win that. And Wigan are most likely to win the Grand Final. But I just think in that knockout situation at the end of the season, Wigan have only got to play poorly maybe for 15 minutes out of 2 games, and the opposition bang a couple of tries in, and that they could be out. Either in the final or the semi-final. So I wouldn't be backing Wigan at odds on with Betfred. I think maybe, how about this? If I say this often enough, year on year, I'll be right eventually. Maybe it's Warrington's year. I've been backing them long enough, and I'm still paying the bills. So maybe this will be Warrington's year, Mark. Sam Burgess.
Thanks very much for joining us.
My
Rod,
pleasure.
And great to see you back on the Sky Sports Rugby
Thank
League.
you, Mark. You're very kind.
Yeah, great to hear from Rod Studd. You hear from Rod throughout the Betfred World Matchplay. The final is on Sunday night, and Rod will be commentating on that occasion. Right then, Carl, we touched on about Matt Peat and what he's brought to Wigan.
Yep.
I love all the community stuff Wigan are doing now as well.
Yeah, he's a class act, isn't he? He's probably crossing into like a modern coach, like a different style of coaching that perhaps we haven't seen before. I think what he does is he brings all the aspects of rugby league, the business, the community, and he really wraps it into one big family, doesn't he? And I think that's so transparent throughout Wigan's club. You've seen the stuff that they're doing with the women's team now, a new training centre for them, the investment that they made into the wheelchair team, of course, them winning the grand final last season as well. So all the noises that are coming out of Wigan are exciting if you're a Wigan Warrior fan, and but crucially the investment that they've done on the field and the investment that he does into that playing group as well. I think every one of his interviews I've watched this year, Mark, I think he's nailed every one of them. You come out of it, regardless whether you're a Saints fan or whatever, you come out and you think, geez, I like how he conducts himself, and that effectively rubs off onto the players, no doubt about that. And
talking about how he conducts himself, you've got personal experience because your lad was in the school's final, wasn't he? And he got them all in, didn't he?
He did.
It was amazing what he did with it.
Yeah, it was brilliant. He got all the kids in there and he had them in during the week, and they had dinner with the first team squad. And this is a squad that's preparing for a Challenge Cup final, one that squad hasn't done at Wembley. They've done it at Tottenham, but for Matty Peat it was his first opportunity, and for him to embrace and just see the bigger picture. Now, I'm not saying that lads in that team will all go on and play, but it's just smart what they're doing, isn't it? They're getting the feel-good factor in and around what we can do and creating memories for them. So, as parents looking on, it's really special of them to do that. But again, I just think it's smart what they do. Yeah.
How proud were you?
Oh mate, I was over the moon. Me and Kevin, and all the parents. We had a top weekend, and the boys did so well. They got the win and were crowned national schools finals champions. So
would you prefer if he became a rugby league player or a darts player?
I know my wife, where she would say a rugby league player, but look, as long as he's happy and doing it, and I can come to stuff like this, it'd be brilliant.
Someone who's got 2 kids myself, it's just brilliant to play sport. I think,
exactly.
You learn so much from
they
sport,
do,
whether it's darts, rugby league, football, whatever.
Yeah, you get and even if the kids don't even go on to do it, what they get socially and out of it are brilliant skills for life.
Right then, let's talk about the fixtures in the Betfred Super League this weekend. A Friday night, Huddersfield versus Salford.
Oh yeah, of course. How are Huddersfield? Sorry, how are they going to react? Life after Ian Watson. Look, usually you get a massive reaction from a playing group as they start to think that they're not starting to feel comfortable anymore. New coach, they'll be aware that one's coming in, and they have to start playing for their places. And it sounds stupid saying that, because sometimes fans go, well, they should be doing that week in, week out. But sports, a lot of it now is more mental than physical. And if you get stuck in a rut, it's very hard to get out. And I think sometimes a freshness, a change brings the very best out of players. And will we see that? They're up against it. Paul Rowley's side is brilliant to watch, aren't they? They are, for me, the entertainers of Super League when they get it right. But fixtures like this, they seem to do so well against top 6 sides, Salford, but fall away in perhaps games where they should win.
This is a huge game for your old club. St Helens at home to Warrington.
Yeah, it's as big as it gets in recent years. I think going into the Wigan game, Mark, we got told that the last time Saints got beat 3 times in a row was 2017. They lost, I think it was Hull FC, Leeds Rhinos, and the final third loss of 2017 was at Wigan. Now, I don't know how far back we've got to go for 4 results, but St Helens are staring down the barrel of 4 losses. They are. And within that, not only that they could see them slip to 6th, if results go elsewhere. So, huge night. And for Warrington, though, on the other hand, plenty to get excited about there. Sam Burgess seemed to, a lot of eyebrows raised when he first came in, but I think, now he's starting to change opinions and there's belief there, and Warrington are gunning for that second place. So it's, look, again, I understand the story there's about St Helens, but there's also a story for Warrington Wolves and how good would it be for their fans to see that win.
Lee versus London.
Bit of a dead rubber, this one, really, isn't it? But again, Lee, you asked me before, have they got a chance for the playoffs? Maybe marginally, very, very marginally, but they have to win. They have to win, and they have to keep momentum going. So I see a Lee win there for sure.
Hull FC versus Wigan.
Look, Hull FC, they came out on another derby loss, didn't they? But although it was a bit of a better second half performance, I still don't think it's anywhere near enough to stop the juggernaut of Wigan. Hull FC will be, many people inside that organisation who are just looking to put this season to bed and get on with next year.
This is a huge game for Leeds if we're going to squeeze into a top 6. Leeds, Hull KR.
Massive game. Arguably between St Helens and Warrington, this is probably the second or if not top pick of the game. Leeds have got plenty to do. Brad Arthur now, starting to pull the strings and starting to maybe put heat on 1 or 2 of those players who perhaps had more, more comfortable and lenient times with Rowan Smith, a different coach, a different playing style. Will we get to see, that come to the fore? Probably still too early yet, but a reaction and a performance for sure.
And finally on Sunday, Castleford versus Catlads.
Castleford, two wins in a row. Got that famous win over St Helens and backed it up with a win down in London. So it could be 3 and a bounce for for Castleford. But the Dragons they're going all right again, aren't they? So a difficult one to call that really. But I think if I was going with my head, I would say Catalan.
Right, we're here in Blackpool. We're here at the iconic Winter Gardens. How much are you looking forward to watching darts tonight?
Oh, brilliant! Yeah, I was watching it last night, and I was saying to my wife and kids, we'll be, I'll be there tomorrow, and I think it went over their head, to be honest. But no, just looking forward to it. Just looking forward to hearing all the singing going, or the walkouts, and of course some brilliant darts here.
What would your walk-on tune be then, if you were a darts player?
Oh, that's a great question, isn't it? What would my walk-on tune be?
Put you on the spot a bit there, haven't I?
You have actually, yeah. I can't think off the top of my head. Are we sitting here until I give you an answer? What would me walk
when
on
the Saints
song
go
be?
marching in, maybe?
No, he couldn't do that. No. I'll have to get back to you on that one, Matt. I can't think off the top of my head. Sorry.
I'll ask you another show at another time. But yeah, you've been watching a very special edition of The Last Tackle. We are here because it's the Betfred World Matchplay. The final is on Sunday night. We've got these cracking games in the Betfred Super League as well. St Helens, Warrington, Lutsford pick as well. We've got the Open Golf. I tell you what, I'll pose this question to you. What do you do if you don't like sport?
Beyond me. Beyond me. It's the best thing ever, isn't it? We all love it. We all eat and breathe and live it. I just don't know. You can't. Especially on nights like tonight.
What do you do if you don't like sport? Thanks for watching.